A call is cold only if you don't know the person or what the situation is that you are addressing. If you do your homework, no call ever has to be cold. The prospect wants to play the seller-buyer game. This is a game that avoids real communication and trust. The buyer makes assumptions about you, and you respond with similar assumptions and reactions. This is not a game you want to play. You must make yourself stand out by not playing this game. You must play your game that makes you distinct and gives you an advantage. Otherwise, you're wasting your time and the prospect's time. You can develop an effective plan to give yourself an unfair advantage in this meeting. An effective plan means that you take the time to think about what you want, what the prospect needs, and how to satisfy both challenges. A call will not be cold if you plan your goals and use the information that is available to you. Never make a truly cold call. Know a little about your prospect before you begin your pursuit of an invitation. You never want to make a call and truly be cold. Do your homework, and then use that homework to plan that first meeting. The 3 areas we will cover today include looking at how to plan realistic goals, goals that are achievable in that first meeting, planning how to start the meeting, which involves some scripting of what you want to say, as well as some flexibility for making changes as you proceed, and finally, checking your own attitudes to make sure that you are not undermining your chances of success when you meet the prospect. Prepare realistic goals. It's easy to go into a first sales meeting with the hope of making a sale. However, that is usually unrealistic. Instead, there are many issues to look at as you ask yourself what is a realistic goal for this meeting. One element may be how much time you asked for in your contract. Another depends on how complex your product or service may be. And there are probably many other issues that contribute to what can or should be accomplished in that first meeting. If you don't have a goal for your first meeting, it is certain little will be accomplished. This goal often has to change once the meeting starts, but such flexibility is also part of your planning. Like any good goal, you need to be specific about what you want to accomplish in this sales call. And equally important, you need to look carefully at what you're going to be asking your prospect to do to ensure that the goal is something the prospect is really able to do. You must think about what is a doable goal. Maybe you want the prospect to decide to buy today, or to schedule a meeting with the vice president. Maybe you just want the prospect to ask for a proposal. The goal must be realistic, whatever it is. It must be something you can actually do in this meeting. And your goal must fit the circumstances. What you want in the long run may not be realistic at this meeting. In fact, the realistic goal for this meeting may simply be to have another meeting, with a little more time to talk with the prospect, or with different people that need to be brought into the discussion. One of the fundamental truths about selling, uncovered by the NLP best practices analysis, is that the person with the most flexibility wins. As you plan your first meeting, you may want to look at several goals that you might be able to accomplish in your meeting. It is important to have several because you may need to change goals as you talk with the prospect and get more information. For instance, once you get the meeting started, you may discover that the circumstances were not what you expected. You may even discover that this person can't make the decision you wanted them to make or the action you wanted them to do. So be prepared to be flexible. Flexibility is needed because the goal may change as you progress in your meeting. You may have thought that someone has more authority than is true, for instance. By looking at different possible outcomes, you'll be prepared to switch gears quickly and easily. In order to have the flexibility to make a quick change of goals, you need to think about possible goals and plan ahead, know what you want to say, and how to say it. For instance, if your goal is get a list of concerns, but you discover you're meeting with someone who is too removed from the problems to know the answer to this question, your goal may change to refer me to another person. Only by having several potential outcome goals in your mind will you be able to be flexible. And one key to having the unfair advantage is, you're right, the person with the most flexibility wins. Often the first meeting has very limited goals. It would have been nice to have done this by phone before you have your first meeting. This is part of qualifying an account. But sometimes this may have been impossible, and getting this information is the first real, doable goal for your meeting. These are more examples of possible goals for that first meeting. Look them over and think about how a conversation might sound as you move toward one of these goals. These are action commands and will need to be part of what you say to your prospect. Remember, you only want to focus on one at a time. These are a few more examples of possible goals for your first meeting. Think about your next cold call. What do you want to accomplish? Now that you have listed what you want to accomplish, consider for a moment, what does the prospect want or need? This is a critical piece of your planning and often overlooked. In Workshop 2, you learned about the importance of being able to describe your value and benefit to the customer. To do this, you need to know what the customer wants and needs. Think about what you know about your prospect. What drives this person? Look at this list of possible driving needs and see if any fit for your prospect. If so, you'll know how to word your value statement in a way that fits that need. Also, as you talk with your customer, listen carefully for hints that might help you know how to sell yourself and adjust your value statement to ensure that it matches what the customer wants and needs. Workshop 7 addresses more drivers like these in much more detail. For now, however, use this list to help you think about what you know about your prospect or customer. Can you describe the benefits of your business or product in one word? What do you provide your customers? This is simply an interesting exercise to help you learn to describe the benefits of your product or service in as few words as possible. Most people talk too much. Try this exercise and see if you can say one word that incorporates what you do. You may see that you can use the one-word description as you talk with the customers. At the least, this exercise can help you focus more clearly on what you can do for the customer and less on what you do for a living. As an example, I can describe in one word the value I provide with the Sell with NLP on-demand workshops. And that word is empowerment. I empower salespeople to be more effective. What one word describes your value? Look at the next slide for examples and then create your own. What one word describes your value? Now, with that one word in mind, use as few words as possible to describe your value from the customer's perspective. This will be part of the script for your opening statement. Keep it short, but make sure it focuses on your customer, in other words, your selling, and not on you, which would be telling.